So today I'm going to show you how to make this crochet zipper bag, and it goes along with my little pouch series, ways to kind of keep your purse organized. So what you're going to need for this project is some zipper, some scissors, a crochet hook, a yarn needle, some yarn, and you'll also need, beyond that needle, you'll also need some sewing needles. And you'll also some sewing needles. I got these from one of the craft stores. And you'll need a liner, and I'm not going to use that liner there, but any kind of fabric that you want to line your zipper pouch with, you can use that if you even want to use a liner. It's up to you. So I'm going to show you, because this is a customizable bag, you can change up the sizes. I'm going to show you how to create it based on what you want. So what I used here was a 7-inch zipper, so I'll show you how to do it for a 7-inch zipper. But if you wanted to do a 14-inch zipper or 9-inch zipper, I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start with our foundation chain. So to do your foundation chain, of course, you're going to start with your slip knot. So just follow the screen here on how to do that. And once you have your slip knot, you'll go ahead and place that onto your crochet hook. And I'm not sure if I said it already, but I used a 5mm crochet hook. You can use a 5mm, 6mm, it's up to you. Obviously, the smaller the crochet hook, then the closer the stitches are going to be, and it, and that's whatever you choose. Okay. So go ahead and make yourself a foundation chain. Making a foundation chain is just yarning over, putting the yarn behind the crochet hook, and then pulling through. So yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. And then you'll just do that until you get the length of the zipper. Okay, so just keep doing. If you don't know how to do a foundation chain, I will go ahead and link in the video, and also in the description box, a video on how to do a foundation chain, on how to do a slip knot, and how to also do a single crochet stitch. So just keep working. It's looking like that. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the zipper. Okay. You see there and there, that's where your measuring part is from, the zipper to that little buckle kind of at the end. So you're going to go ahead and just place your foundation chain on your zipper, and then that's how you can determine how many stitches you need to make. I did a 7-inch zipper, so I made about 8 inches worth of a foundation chain. Okay, so what I was going to say is, basically when you're making your foundation chain, of course you want to be relaxed, because you're going to have to work back through that. So you don't want your holes to be very tight. And if you're not comfortable with doing a foundation chain with loose stitches, go ahead and pick up a larger crochet hook just to do your foundation chain, and then you can switch back to a smaller crochet hook to create your project. So that's just a little trick for people that might have a lot of tension. So that's what I do. You can go ahead and put the foundation chain against the zipper. Don't pull it, just lay it down so that it doesn't have any stretch, and see where it falls. And you want it to fall a little bit beyond the zipper beginning and the end. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just create the actual pouch, and we're doing that with just a simple single crochet stitch. So I'm going to show you how to do that part here. Oh, here I'm just showing you that I measured it. You don't have to do this. This is just me kind of showing you that you can measure it too. If you didn't want to place it up against the zipper, you can just use a measuring tape and just measure it and see that you've got to, you have it to the length that you want. Okay, so here we go. Now we're going to go ahead and create our foundation, our row. So you're going to insert your crochet hook, pull up a loop. You're going to yarn over, and then pull through those 2 loops that are left on your crochet hook, leaving that top one. So we'll do it again, and this is where you want to kind of keep your tension. Good tension. See that right there, that hole? Go ahead and insert your crochet hook into that hole. Okay. Yarn over, and then pull through. And I'm going to show you that a few more times. Okay. So just keep doing that all the way down your foundation chain. And this is what we call a single crochet stitch. I don't think I mentioned that, but that's what this is. And if you've done any of my other projects, I've done this stitch a lot of times, because really this stitch right here, because it's such a tight stitch or a closer stitch, it's really good for projects like pouches and things. That's what it's looking like. Okay, we're nearing the end, so you want to just make sure you put a single crochet stitch in that last stitch of the row. Okay, and pull through. Now that you've done that, you've completed your first row, you're going to go ahead and yarn over and pull through. That is considered a chain, and then you're going to turn your work. Now, once you turn your work, you're going to create a single crochet stitch, which is what we just did, all the way down the row. And I started right there in that very first hole. So you go ahead and put in your single crochet stitch, and then that's your first one. So for projects like this, you want to go ahead and count, because you want to make sure that you have an even number of stitches, or the same number of stitches in each row. So we've already done 2. Then you'll go 3, and just kind of keep that count all the way down, and remember that number. Okay? And it's going to vary based off of your bag. It could vary based off of if you started in that first stitch or the second stitch. It could vary. But the main thing is you want to make sure, especially with a project like this, you just want to make sure that you have the same number in each row. Okay, so just keep working, and then we'll come back and meet up when we get closer to the end. Okay, so I've completed my swatch for the most part. Now I'm just going to show you how to finish this whole thing off. You'll create your rows to the size of the bag that you want. So you already know the length, and the width is going to be you already know the width based off the zipper. So the length is going to be based off of whatever you want it to be. Okay, whatever you're going to be carrying. So here we are, we're just finishing off the project. And put a stitch there, and then that very last, of course, and you've been doing this whole way through, you're going to make sure you put a stitch in that last stitch on the row. Okay, and that's what it's looking like. And my bag's not going to be super huge. It's exactly what I needed for what I'm carrying in my purse, like gum and pencils and things like that don't have a home. I want it to be really neat. So that's what that's what mine looks like. And this is it matches all the other projects that we did, so you can tell I like teal. Teal and gray are really pretty colors. Okay, so what I'm sharing here is basically this is what it looks like. It's the exact measurements that I'm looking for. So you'll want to take your liner, and if you choose to do a liner, you want to cut it to be just a little bit smaller than your actual crochet fabric. Okay, so whatever your fabric was, if it's like 8 by 10 or whatever it is, you're going to want to cut your internal fabric maybe like 7 by 9 or something like that. You just want it to be a little bit smaller so that it fits in the bag itself. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like when the bag is closed. You want the part of the liner that you want to be seen, you want that part facing up, just like that. And then we're going to go ahead and start trying to construct everything. So I'm going to get the zipper. This part can be a little tricky, so just make sure you pay attention to how I get everything laid out. Okay, so you have your zipper and it's closed. So you'll put it up against the liner and the crochet fabric. The zipper is going to be housed in between the two. So I went ahead and opened up the zipper. Okay, I'm just kind of showing you that. You're going to flip the zipper over so that the zipper's part is facing down. Okay, so let me show you. Go ahead and flip that down. And then you're going to put that in between the fabric and the crochet swatch. But we're going to do this in stages. So at this point, I'm just going to pin, the zipper down to the fabric. So I want you to be able to see how the zipper is going to be in between the crochet fabric and the liner. So don't get worried. Like I said before, this is just really demonstration so that you guys can see how everything kind of pulls together. But I'm going to do something a little bit different, so just keep watching. So I'm just lining up the zipper with the fabric so that the teeth of the zipper aren't too close to the fabric, because what happens is when you're zipping something, have you ever zipped something up and then it gets caught? It's because the fabric is getting in the way. So what we're going to do is make sure we put our zipper teeth a little bit above the actual fabric so that it doesn't get caught when you're zipping it. And you'll see what I'm talking about as you start working your project. See? That's what it's going to look like. So the zipper is going to be sandwiched in between the liner and the crochet fabric, and then we're going to sew up the sides, and that's how basically you'll have your pouch. Okay, so I just kind of did this so you could see what it's going to look like. Okay, what I did though, I'll just say this, I ended up using some hot glue. I just put a few dabs of hot glue on the zipper to get it to stay in place. I felt like that was so much more easier than trying to work with pins, especially since I was sewing this by hand. So what I did was I went ahead and glued down the first half of the zipper. I'm going to then glue down the lining, and then I will glue down the other side. I hope that makes sense. It was so much easier, and me explaining it to you is a lot more difficult than when you're actually doing it. So if you start working the project, you'll be able to say, oh, I get it. So see how I did? I put the zipper down, then I'm going to glue down the liner. Okay, so let's talk about this sewing. Sewing this zipper to the pouch was the hardest part of this project, and I think it was because I did not have adequate sewing material. The needle, I think it could have been a little bit sharper because I was having to push really hard to get it through the polyester zipper liner. So anyway, just be forewarned, is this something that you can do? If you have a sewing machine, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot easier. And as you can tell from these cricket stitches that so it was a little bit difficult, but it was worth it in the end. I enjoyed the project, but I wanted to make sure you were warned. Okay. So I went ahead and sewed the liner to the bag, and you can't see it on the outside really, but the inside you can, and that's just due to poor planning. I really should have got a liner that was darker so that the yarn couldn't the thread you couldn't see it. So that's my advice to you all. Whenever you do this, get a liner that matches these the thread, or get a thread that matches the liner, so that kind of stuff, you know, the cosmetic part of it looks a little bit better. Okay, and it will save you one more step, because for me, I didn't like it and I ended up doing one more step to the bag. Okay, so once you have the whole bag sewn together, the zipper on the bag, you're going to go ahead and sew down the bag. So you're just going to sew down both sides. And you know, I started from the top. And I went to the bottom, and then I went from the bottom back up to the top. So I hope that makes sense. I sewed all the way down the side to the very bottom, and then I sewed back up so that everything was tight, and that way I could tie all my strings together. You see, I'm going back up now. Okay, so that's what you're going to do for both sides of your bag. And then once you've done that, then you're done. You're pretty much done with your bag. I went ahead and took another piece of the fabric and tried to glue it so you couldn't see the stitches. Real tacky. Don't do that. Just make sure you get a matching thread. But that's how it looks like when it zips together. And I just cut off all the little ends and things like that, and then I put a little embellishment on there, but it turned out really cute at the end once I had everything together, and that's what it looks like. Okay, so here it is again, just so you guys can see it. It turned out really good and it really was an easy project. Be sure to check out my other videos to check out how I created these other little pouches to help keep your purse or your bag organized. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comment section below. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. You can also check out my blog. I try to put written instructions there. And that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks again. Talk to you later. Bye.